Somebody got to say it, and it might as well be me. Why is it that you think that commitment is so powerful, yet so much of us are afraid of it? Why do you think we are afraid of it? What is it about commitment that deters people? Why do people not want to commit? This is something that I had struggled with in my life. I struggled with commitment for years of my life. I didn't want to commit to anything, anyone, not even commit to myself. And the reason why is because I was afraid of being abandoned. I have been abandoned so much in my life that I no longer wanted to experience that feeling. So I did not commit to anything. So that way I would never have to feel the feeling of being abandoned or feeling lonely. Let me say one thing that I think is extremely important. There is a difference between being alone and being lonely. Alone is a state of being, and lonely is a state of mind. And the fear or the feeling of abandonment is not tied to being alone, it's tied to the state of mind of feeling lonely. And when you feel that you are lonely, you then feel that you are abandoned. And when you feel that you are abandoned, you will now not trust anyone. It creates a distrust for anyone and anything, including yourself. You won't even trust your own decisions and the things that you say because of this feeling of abandonment, because you feel that you are not good enough for people to stay around. You are not good enough for people to commit to you the way that you committed to them. So now you don't even trust yourself, nor do you trust anyone or anything. So why give 110% to anything when you're not even going to get as little as 10% back? When your parents didn't love you enough that they left. When your family didn't love you enough that they didn't stay around. When your friends that you thought was going to be there for a lifetime turned their back on you, you felt abandoned, and then you were alone. So then you started to feel lonely. And that came from this feeling of inadequacy and not feeling like you were enough. And that's why you were afraid of commitment. I am also talking to myself. Because when I sat in therapy and my therapist brought out the fact that I was afraid of commitment because it was tied to my abandonment, I was sitting there like, wow, I never would have thought that. I thought I didn't want to commit because I was afraid, or well, excuse me, I didn't know what I was committing to. I felt like I needed to have a purpose, and I didn't have a defined purpose behind it. I had a lot of fancy stuff to say. But the reason why I didn't want to commit is because I was afraid that what I committed to would not commit back. And I had countless things to recount where I committed to things and it didn't commit back to me. And I was angry and upset, and I didn't realize that it was going to come out like that. I was like, man, I really feel some type of way about this because I have loyalty. That's why, what do you think people talk so much about? They say loyalty is important. You got to be loyal. That's commitment. I need you to be loyal to me. I need you to be exactly what I expected you to be. My expectation needs to be met. Commit and show me that you're going to show up the way you say you are. And when you don't, you're disloyal. And now I don't trust you. And when you have a system of things and people that constantly break your trust and is disloyal to you and abandon you and make you feel lonely, you will never want to commit to anything again. And that could affect and impact the rest of your life. That could affect your growth because in order to grow, you have to commit. In order to grow, you have to be consistent, and consistency comes with commitment. You have to take a pledge to do something, commit to it, and then be consistent to do it over and over and over again. But when you are afraid of the marathon, you will constantly do the sprints. Because a sprint is not something that you have to commit to as much. It's something quick, fast, and you get to the end. But a marathon, you have to commit. You have to commit your time. You have to commit your resources. You have to commit to the effort because you're in it for the long haul. And if you don't expect anybody else to be there, oh, you're not going to commit. When you don't trust anything, you're not going to commit. You will always find yourself in a space where you're cowering away from commitment. You're going to run away from it. And that would not allow you to be successful in anything that you do. Because to be successful, you absolutely must commit. You absolutely have to give it all. And you have to commit to it for the long haul. Because that's the only way that you're going to get to the finish line. Commitment is important. And we struggle with that. But here's the key. The key is stop committing to things outside of yourself. Commit to you. And when you keep commitments to yourself, that's when you'll start to feel that you can trust someone, because the only person that you need to trust is you. Commit to yourself. Make that commitment and follow through and be consistent with the things that you say to yourself. That's self-love. That's self-appreciation. And then you're going to start to develop that internal value. And that value can never be changed or shooken or shifted because it's you with you. Commit to yourself. Trust yourself. Don't ever leave yourself. And stop thinking that just because you're alone, you're lonely. Because that's why you feel abandoned. Because you're never lonely unless you think you are, even if you're alone. So what I need you to do, this is me to you and me to me, is to commit to you and trust you and never leave yourself hanging and be loyal to you so that you can establish and develop that relationship, because that's the most important relationship you can ever have. Commit to yourself.